have the pleasure of introducing a coach who is a newer coach, which we do often on the Wake Up Call, and we highlight someone who's been around about a year, maybe a little over a year, what they're doing, what is working for them, and what has influenced their success. And you know what? She was announced today, Darren Ashby, she was announced today as a 2-star. So that was very, very exciting. And I love her team name too, Fire and Freedom. Love it, love it, love it. So she's currently ranked in the entire network in just over a year and a half of coaching. She's ranked 67th in the network of over 400,000 coaches. So she has done something right. And in Canada, yes, you guys, I see all the Canadian flags. She is currently number 12 in Canada. So she has done something, and I want to hear all about it. She's currently a 2-star diamond coach, which she hit that on Thursday. You guys, she's from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Please give it up for Mylène Legresley. Hey, Mylène.
Hi, Sandy. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you for coming on board on the call. I'm going to step out of the way and ask you the moment you became a coach. Tell us a little bit about what that looked like.
Sure. So I started these programs 2 years ago, not as a coach, just as a challenger. So my journey started there. At the time, I was a single mom. I had 2 young kids. I worked full time. Life was completely overwhelming. I really wasn't taking care of myself. Truthfully, I was drinking every night for stress relief. I had been a yo-yo dieter for years and, just wasn't doing the things that I needed to be doing to take care of myself. I was 210 pounds. I remember stepping on that scale and seeing that number, like over 200, and just being so sad about it that, this is where I was. What I found was that I was really impatient and like yelly with my kids. I was groggy every day, and I was starting to be really self-conscious. So I started these programs. My now coach, who was my friend at the time, invited me to join 80-Day Obsession, and I decided to do it as a customer with absolutely zero intentions of coaching whatsoever. And I ended up losing 80 pounds in total in my entire journey. It completely transformed my life, physically, otherwise, how I mother, like everything in my life. Fast forward 6 months, and lo and behold, I decided to become a coach because I fell in love with these programs so much. They had such an amazing transformation on my life. But I did it even though, I did not have time for it. My plate was full. But I'll be honest with you, the reason I did it was to make some extra money. I worked as a manager for a software company, and every year I would get my raise, and it was maybe 2% or maybe 4%, and some years I wouldn't get one, but it was static. And every month, financially for me as a single mom, it was really hard. I had to mega budget every single month. So at first with coaching, my goal was to make $500 a month to help offset any costs, like pay for my groceries or when my son's hockey bill came up. And that $500 made a massive difference to me. But what I realized really quickly is that the harder I worked, the more I poured in, the more I showed up, the more I worked on myself, the more of an impact this could have on my life financially. And really, I found that having the ability to manage my own income was mind-blowing and nothing that I had ever considered. But coaching gave me a total high. I completely fell in love with it. And then truly the fact that it was making an impact financially on myself, my kids, my future was really what fueled me to kick up this business.
Thank you for sharing that. I don't know if it's a Canadian term, but you were very yelly with the kids.
I was, yeah. It might be Canadian.
I know what that is. And also, you lost 80 pounds with your first program. We gloss over these things. I mean, 5 pounds is difficult to get rid of, but 80. So let me ask you a very first question, because I'm going to do this interview style today. Talk about the programs you did as a customer and how that transformation gave you that fuel to start conversations.
Yeah. Well, the first program that I did was 80-Day Obsession, and I did not lose 80 pounds with 80-Day Obsession. I did lose 35 pounds with 80-Day Obsession, but over the course of those first 6 months is when I lost all of that weight. But honestly, I got totally obsessed with 80-Day Obsession. Like, I dove into the programs. I really hadn't worked out. I had always been somebody that worked out, but on and off, like classic yo-yo person. But I dove into 80-Day Obsession. I remember I was on holiday in Hawaii, and that's when our challenge group was starting. And I reached out to my coach, like, I think I'm going to start in a week. And she was like, why? Just start now. I'm like, okay, I'll start it when we're in Hawaii. I started in my hotel room in Hawaii. I could barely do the moves. I had to modify everything. But like, truly, I didn't miss a day. The challenge group, like, I really dove into the challenge group and that community and that competitive feeling. So I did 80-Day Obsession. I also decided to quit drinking for this first program. That was my intention, and really give myself a shot at this. I mean, 2 years later, I'm still 100% alcohol free. So it's made like this massive change in my life, but that's where it started. And that wasn't my intention initially. I went 100% into the nutrition plan. So I did Ultimate Portion Fix. I did Time Nutrition for 80-Day Obsession. And when I'm talking 100%, I mean like zero cheats, zero treats. Like, I really committed to it. And I started seeing like massive results, and it motivated me to keep going. So then I did Lift 4, I did Morning Meltdown 100, and then like it trickled and continued. And I've done most of all of our programs now. But I really, like, I started these programs to lose weight. I never thought I could get actually like muscular or strong or lean. You know, that was never what I thought I could be, but it started happening over time because I was so dedicated to the program. I just thought it was incredible. And it really made me realize that the programs are truly designed to work. If you follow the way they're designed, you will see the results. Like, it seemed so simple all of a sudden, and I just had never really had it like laid out in front of me like that before. And that's what I love as a coach, because the programs work and they're given to you as a tool. Your job really is to show people that they work, invite them to do it, and encourage them to get their own results. But for me, that transformation was like massive to seeing early success in coaching. I think that, for one, it gave me so much confidence in talking about the programs because I was so familiar with them, and I truly did believe in them deep down inside because they had such a big effect on me. I think that me sharing and proving that this worked was massive. Like, I could not have been a bigger believer in them. And I think that me being able to share that with authenticity came across. And when I started coaching, I wasn't like selling. I wasn't icky. It was truly my truth. I was just saying, like, this is where I started. This is exactly what I did. And here's where I am now. And I love it. Like, you can do this too. And really, for me, like, my before and after pic, you know, sometimes I still look at my before and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that's where I was. It seems crazy. But it was one of the first things I shared publicly. And it really like kickstarted my coaching journey. One of my before and after pics went viral, which was really cool. But I didn't only share the physical, you know, I shared how this had changed me, how it changed me as a mom, how I felt before, how I feel now, like all of the other non-scale victories that I've seen. And like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy to share all of that. I mean, my mom now follows me on Instagram. You know, I shared how much I drank. I'm sure she had a mini heart attack when she heard that. But what I found was that the more raw I got with my story and the more truthful I was about all of those things that were really uncomfortable to share, the more people connected with it. I think my before and after made such an impact because people could relate to the before. You know, they could see themselves in me at over 200 pounds. I had people telling me, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I look like. That's what I do. You're giving me hope that I can keep going. So really, for me, the transformation was a massive launch pad for my business.
You know, it's so funny because those before and after pictures, I think in the beginning, we thought that people were really going to relate to the after picture. They're like, I want that. But people relate to the before picture and they see themselves in that and they see what's possible. Really, really good. And I love that you said, yeah, let me start in a week. And your coach said, no, why
No.
don't you start today? Which is why Mondays can no longer be the start of a workout program. It's any day. In fact, I see on social media, so many people say, what program can I get the best results with? And the answer is the program that you'll stick with. So
yeah, 100%.
Really good stuff, Mylène. Okay, you were a single mom, and as you became a coach to earn an income, but you also had this great transformation story. So you have this kind of dual approach here. You have the transformation, but you also have somebody that wanted to just earn $500 a month. So what story do you tell and when?
Yeah, I love this question, and I'll tell you why in a minute, because I think it's a really important lesson if you're trying to build a team and wondering why people might not want to join you as a coach. But yeah, I have two talk tracks I share depending on who I'm talking to. You know, my first story is around fitness, health, this lifestyle, and that is to attract new challengers. When I very first started, it was 100% of my talk track. That's all I talked about. Today, it's probably about 75%. To onboard new challengers. And then the other 25% of my story is to attract coaches. And I talk about the financial aspect all the time. And the reason why I think this is such a good lesson is because honestly, for a long time, I was really hesitant to talk about the real reason why I started coaching. It felt, I don't know, icky maybe, or almost embarrassing that the reason I started coaching was to make some extra money. It also wasn't the story that I was hearing from my coaches and the coaches that I was sort of emulating. They all seem to have like nicer reasons to start coaching, let's say. You know, they did it for their own accountability, or they did it because they really wanted to help people. And that just wasn't my story. But for a long time, those are the kinds of things that I talked about when I shared what coaching did for me. And I really struggled to build a team because I don't think I was being, well, I know I wasn't being authentic to my real reason why I started coaching and what it had done for me. I was using like other people's language, other people's reasons why. And if there's one thing that I've learned about coaching, it's like the more authentic you are, the more true you are to yourself, even if it's uncomfortable, the more you will attract your people. So once I started really honing in on my true story and sharing that I did start coaching for extra money, that I did want to pay for my groceries, that I did, you know, pay my car payment last month, people started commenting. People started asking me about it. They started being interested in coaching because the people that follow me were the same as me. They were single moms. They were busy working moms. Their kids were in all the sports. Life was expensive, and $500 a month or more could mean a lot to them too. So, you know, I think it's so important to focus truly on the reason why you started coaching, even though that might not be an easy share, but make sure that you're sharing your story and you're inviting coaches that are going to resonate with your story, because those are your people. Those are the people that are going to join you.
I think you hit the nail on the head about authenticity. You know, share the story that resonates with you. If you're sharing, if you're leading with the financial or the income and you feel like it's sounding icky, then it is icky. Yeah. You know, share genuinely. So I appreciate your honesty on that. Next question is that you dove in from the beginning. So once you signed up to be a coach, you dove in. And I always ask people to tell me really, what does that mean? Did you run groups? Did you build a team? Did you start inviting? Like, what was your first step?
Yeah. So I definitely dove in. I'm not a tiptoeer. Like if I do something, I want to do it well. But really, I did three main things when I first started. I showed up, I started a challenge group, and then I invited to that challenge group. So, you know, showing up for me meant every single day on Instagram. And honestly, it wasn't easy because I actually didn't even have an Instagram account before I started coaching. Like I had 0 followers. I didn't know how to do a boomerang. I didn't know everything. So everything I learned from scratch. But by this point, I had shared my before and after. I had people that were intrigued, but they weren't joining me right away. It's not like, you know, people were messaging me as soon as I put my before and after up saying like, I want to join you. And so I wanted them to understand what I did every day to get there. And then more importantly, what they would need to do every day if they wanted to see the same results. So like tactically every day in my stories, I had about 7 to 10 stories. I would share my workouts in the morning. I would share what I was eating. I, showed the containers in the background. I would share my shake. And then I'm a big like meal prepper, meal planner. And so that was a big part of what I shared too. And then a little bit of personal stuff in there so people would get to know me. But ultimately, like I did not miss a day. I really wanted people to know that they could rely on me to be there and that I would be the coach that they deserved if they joined me. I also showed up in my posts, but this was a bit more of a struggle for me. Like my goal is always one post a day. I don't think I've ever had a week where I've done one post a day, but that's always my goal. So at the beginning, it was like 1 to 2 posts a week. Not ideal, not what we're supposed to be doing. But that's what I did. And my posts at first were like sharing my journey, but I realized that I needed to add more value for people. So the people that were following me were interested in my journey, but I wanted them to like get something out of it for them. So, some sort of a lesson or a recipe, whatever it was, like some sort of value, something for them. And then truly most of my effort went to inviting to my first challenge group. I invited like an absolute madwoman. And I think this is the part that can be really scary because we think that, people are going to ghost us. People are going to judge us. Like, what are they going to say? They're going to roll their eyes at me. I was totally worried about all of that, but I knew I had to invite everybody and invite them to my challenge group. So that was my number one priority. What I did as I was building my Instagram following, because I didn't have anybody on there, so I had nobody on Instagram to invite, I went to Facebook and I searched all of my friends on Facebook. I categorized them alphabetically and I just ticked them off one by one. And I sent every single one of them an invitation or a connection, and ultimately invited them to my next challenge group. I mean, I've seen a lot of different strategies here. I think you need to do this based on what feels natural to you. Like think about, how would I want somebody to reach out to me if I was in that situation, and do that. Some people choose to connect, on something else like, oh, how are you? How are your kids? How's your life? And kind of start a conversation that way. And then it can roll into the invitation. At this point, personally, I had already shared my before and after. People knew I had this transformation. I was sharing my day to day, and I'm a pretty direct person. And so I was direct with everybody that I invited, even people that I hadn't talked to in years. It felt right for me. And I even invited the people that gave me like complete anxiety to send that message to. But my initial message sounded something like, hey, so I know it's been a while. Please don't eye roll me, but I think you saw my recent post and you see that I've made some big changes in my life. I have decided to start sharing that with others and helping them do the same. I'm starting a new program in about 2 weeks, and I thought of you. Do you want to do it with me? It's going to be hard, but for me, it was so worth it. Like we could commiserate. And that was my message to every single person on my Facebook page. In my first challenge group, I had about 20 women in there, and it blew my mind because I think I was hoping to get like 2 people. But honestly, I had sent about 200 or 300 invites. So just to give you an idea, like you'd need to invite a lot in order for people to start joining you. I would love to say that I ran my own challenge group, but the truth is it seemed really daunting at the beginning to do it. I wasn't really sure what to do. I wanted to make sure I was giving people a good experience. So I piggybacked onto my coach's challenge group for the first one, and I learned from her while I focused on inviting. So selfishly, she did all of the heavy lifting while, I coached my people in there, and I just paid attention to what she was doing, what I liked, what I maybe wanted to change for my own, for example. But, the content was all hers. But then I realized like my challengers needed to see me in the group. They had signed up with me, and when they were in the challenge group, they were seeing my coach show up there. So after 2 months, I partnered up with another coach who had started around the same time as me. And we started running our own monthly challenge groups. We also created an ongoing community for our people to join after their first group was done. At the time, it was all through Facebook. Now we do it on BOD groups. But really doing it with another coach was like the best decision ever. It helped massively with workload, with confidence, with like feeding off of each other and having somebody to discuss things with. So I definitely recommend having a success partner. That was a huge thing for me. I definitely did not start building a team of coaches right away, unfortunately. That felt like it took forever. Realistically, it was probably about 8 to 10 months for my challengers to start joining me as coaches and start really like building my team. I think like me, they needed to see their transformations first before they felt ready to coach. And so I needed to be patient for that. And so I really shifted my focus to like helping them transform, get their transformation, fall in love with this like I did, and then hope that they would want to become coaches and like share that opportunity with them. All of my coaches, almost all of them, are from my challenge group. So, you know, I really watch in there, like who are the people that are commenting, engaging, encouraging others, who is seeing amazing results. Those are all of my coach prospects. So I plant seeds with them throughout the group. And then every month we host a What is Coaching like sneak peek call. And I invite everybody that I think would be an amazing coach. And I let them know I think they would be a great coach. And then they hop onto that call, which then usually starts the like coaching process.
Wow, well done. It's something that you said really stuck with me, and that is your first challenge group, you had 20 people, and that's huge, but it took 200 to 300 invites for you to get 20 people. Now, okay, if we told everybody that they had to invite 200 people, they would go, nope, not going to do it. But you were consistently every single day. So 30 days in a month, you were, you know, I'm not going to ask you to do the math, but I will say that you have to over invite to get some kind of pool of people. So really appreciate you saying that. What would you say was your next month in inviting? Like, did you get 20?
It was pretty consistent for the first little bit, 10 to 20 every month, I'd say.
Okay. So my next question to you now, last week we had Holly Hilliard talk about what she does in her action hour. So a lot of it is the business activity tracker. So can you take us a little bit through how that has helped you stay consistent with inviting and really focus on your progress?
Yeah, I mean, I think the BAT is amazing. I did it every single day, but I like 3x'd everything every single day. You know, my progress was quick from the beginning, but it's not like it didn't come without effort. So I set time in my schedule to do the business activity tracker, like just like I would my work meeting. So the way I kind of worked my day is I worked an hour after I dropped my kids off at school and before I started my day job. When I could, I would block off an hour on my lunch hour to work as well. And then I'd work like an hour after my kids went to bed. So, you know, I think you can do this business in 1 hour a day for sure. But I worked more like 3 to 4 hours a day because I wanted to grow faster. And that's where I needed to be for this to be effective for me. In the morning, in that first hour, I would do all of the things that I hated because I wanted to get it out of the way. And so that meant connecting and inviting. I think I have a very similar process to what Holly talked about last week. Like I block off my time in 20-minute increments. So I spend 20 minutes following new people. And initially I was adding a lot of like friends of friends. Like I was kind of in that friend zone for a long time, but I was going to, you know, find my avatar, like local coffee shops, mom groups, Lululemon, kids clothing places, all the places that I would go, and I'd follow my people and the people that were engaging in those groups. And then the hope is that some of them would, you know, follow me back, and then we would start a relationship that way. So I was like 20 minutes, my timer went off. I stopped following people. 20 minutes, I would go back and send initial welcome messages to people who had followed me previously. And then a secondary message to those ones a few days later, which usually included some sort of an invite. And it was, you know, maybe sounded like, hey, I'm not sure if you have watched my stories since you've started following me, but I love sharing what I do every day. And I actually have a new group starting in 2 weeks. Would you like to, you know, it includes maybe at-home workouts and like amazing nutrition. Would you like more info? And that was like my second message that I would send. And then the last 20-minute block, I would focus on like general connecting, you know, commenting on people's posts, liking their stories, liking their photos, et cetera, et cetera. I already talked about my stories and my posts and what I did there, but that was also part of my day. And then at the end of the night, when my kids went to bed, that's when I would do the fun stuff that honestly took less energy, but gave me more energy. It's like I kind of told myself, go through the things that you don't like for an hour. And then your reward is to do the fun stuff. So that's when I would go into my existing challenge group. I'd connect with my people. I would build content for our community. Eventually I started building a brand with my success partner. And we started building tools and resources for our business. But I really didn't allow myself to do that until all of the grunt work was done early on.
I gotta ask, you hate inviting, but how much do you love when somebody says you helped me and I'm so glad I was in your group? So it's like this unbelievable reward for the hard work of just asking somebody to join you. You know what I mean? It's like we dread it, or we hear that people dread it, but really it is the most rewarding part of the job. So
yeah, it's worth it in the end, to go through and send invitations and do that piece is worth it for sure.
Okay. I'm going to skip our last question that we talked about, because I think you really talked about challenge groups a lot. So if you'll permit me, I want to go to that last question that Carl was talking about with us in the pre-call. And that is your coach, Erin Yakubuski. Can you talk a little bit about what her guidance was like to you and how she has helped you?
Yeah. Okay. So Erin is amazing. I would say the first thing that, she does, probably without really any effort, is modeling what it means to be a coach. So I emulate a lot of what she does just by watching her. What I love about her is how available she is. I mean, she does this full time now, which is amazing. But at the time when I started, and her and I were friends, her kids are the same age as mine. She worked full time. Her kids are in all the activities, and so she was just as busy as I was. But she always made a point to be available, lunchtime or her evenings, when we needed to talk. But she really is a coach that guides and leads and supports without micromanaging or without doing it for you. So one of the things we did when I first started is we sat down and talked about my goals and why I was doing this. That piece is really important to her, and understanding what drives you in this business. She knows that I want to do this to make money. So when we talk about things, that's where the conversation goes. Okay, how can we get you to make more money? So she knows exactly what's important to me. I remember when I first started, she asked me what I was reading for personal development. I was like, nothing. What are you talking about? I'm not reading anything for personal development. She was like, you got to read something for personal development. So, it's now has become this massive part of my morning routine and my day. And I've grown as a person over the last year and a half, but it really came from her, giving me these small nudges to grow a little bit. Then she asked me, what's the next thing that you're inviting to? But isn't doing the work for you. Her and Erin and her sister Courtney host a monthly coach mentorship training, which is amazing. So you go in there with all new coaches that are starting at the same time, and you go through this training. We have calls every Sunday to connect. They have weekly team calls every Wednesday with all of their coaches. And, what I love the most, I think as a leader on her team, on the sisterhood, is that she really looks for opportunities to help me grow, presenting on our team calls, sharing my knowledge, sharing what's worked for me. She's always kind of talking about what is your next goal? I remember when I went Emerald and I had really no idea what that meant. And I certainly had no idea what Diamond meant. She set me up on a call with her upline to talk about going Diamond and, what we were going to do there and go into a Diamond push group. And so I think it's important that she was always one step ahead of me, okay, now this is what's next, because I had no idea. And so she's really has helped to guide me. I just have always felt mega supported by her and having her available, but in a really professional and leadership way.
It's really helpful you said that, because people quit jobs because they don't find joy in it and they don't find growth. And if your upline coach is providing you opportunities for growth, that's a win-win. And if you're enjoying what you're doing, That's a win-win-win. So I really appreciate you kind of pivoting this morning and showing what it's like to have a coach in your life that helps you grow and that puts you on the right path for success, which from what we're hearing, you are on the right path. Thank you so much. In closing of the call, what do you think in the last 18 months has been a key factor in your success?
I think, I think there's two things. The first one would be honestly, like giving myself permission to really own this coaching thing and really go for it and take it seriously. At first, when I started, it seemed so out of the box. It was so uncomfortable. It was kind of like, okay, let's just see how this goes. That's what I told myself. And that felt like the safe answer. Like I had an easy out if this didn't work out, it was too hard, or it was like embarrassing to show my workout videos. But I realized like if I really dove in, if I really took it seriously, if I put the time and effort in, if I showed up in a professional way, I could really make this something that I was super proud of, and not something that was like kind of a side thing, and make it something significant. It doesn't have to be only $500 a month. It could be so much more than that. But I like really had to give myself permission to kind of go like, okay, like go and fly and be there. But I think really key to my success and what I hope every coach on here has is a team of coaches around you supporting you. I feel literally blessed that I'm part of Fire and Freedom that I built with my coach partner and part of the sisterhood. It's been massive to keep me going. I've had moments of doubt in this business. I've had moments where the effort seemed to outweigh the return, moments where I was like, life is so crazy. I don't know if I can do this right now. But my coach was like my sounding board for that. And what I really loved is that she's a few years ahead of me. And so when I had doubts or hard moments, I reached out to her and I was honest with her about it. And like she got it because she had also had those same things like 2 years prior. She had been where I had been, and she, was able to remind me, not in any sort of a pushy way, but just to say like, hey, I was there. Like, this is what I did. I pushed through. I stuck with it. If you do that, like, I promise it will get better and that it would be worth it. And I think that she could see the potential that I had before I did because she was already 2 years ahead of me. And so, really having her belief in me and helping me grow and like pushing me a little bit and helping me like get through those hard times was massive. Having a success partner that I built this business with was amazing too, because we started at the same time, so she could completely understand where I was at. She could sympathize with me. We helped each other out. When one of us was busy, the other one picked up the slack. So it really helped to like build this business quickly in a more sustainable way. But truly, like being surrounded by a strong team and a strong community of coaches that are going to help you grow has been totally like something that I never thought would be important to me, but is really, I can say, if I wasn't on this team, I wouldn't have that.
You're an independent business owner, but that doesn't mean you have to be alone in this business. So I really, really appreciate you talking about the community, talking about your coach, and just sharing everything today. You did a great job, Mylène. Thank you so much. Have a great week. And this is, we're going to cut it. Well, it's not cutting short. This was almost an hour long, but you so much good information. If you know somebody who missed it, make sure that they check it out on the podcast. So have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.